The Mark Jeffrey podcast is part of Britpod Scene, an independent network of uniquely British podcasts that's always growing. Check out BritpodScene.com or follow Britpod Scene on Twitter to find out more.
Yo, what the frickin' hell's up, podcasters? Welcome to episode 32 of the Mark Jeffrey podcast show, and it is an absolute honour to have you with me in the studio once again for another week. It really, really does mean a lot to me, and I have a fantastic podcast lined up for you this week. Now, Tuesday night, Sam de la Haye came into the studio. She came in on episode 20, if you do recall. She is a mummy, she is a wife, she is a songwriter, and she is a wedding singer, and she is a truly inspirational person to me. Comes in really, really bubbly, really nice attitude, just the kind of person that makes a brilliant podcast. Now, she came in, like I said, on Tuesday night, and we had loads and loads of fun. We talked a little bit about a few more serious things than on episode 20, where it was a bit more of a laugh and a shits and giggles sort of podcast. But we talked about what she's been getting up to over the summer months, doing festival work and all that sort of stuff. And we also talked about a few topics that's going on around the world, a few more serious things. So that was it's a really, really interesting one, this one. I can't wait to share it with you. As well as having Sam in the studio, we've also got two shamazing songs sent in by two shamazing producers. Promoters. Apologies there. Now, the first song that I've got that I'm going to share with you is from a 18-year-old girl from Brisbane, Australia. She's half Spanish, and she is currently based over in the UK, up in Londinium, and she's over here pursuing her dreams. She wants to be an artist and a songwriter. Now, if you like music from Adele, Christina Aguilera, Whitney Houston, Jessie J, then I know that you are going to love her. Her name is Chantal O'Brien, and she has sent in a song, I Need You. Absolutely beautiful song. I know you're going to love it. Now, as well as that beautiful song from Chantal, I've also got a band from West Fife up in Scotland. They have got a double A side single coming out called Sons of Rage. Now, that comes out on the 27th of October. That is this month. And the song is, well, the group are called The Decrees. Now, apologies if I got that wrong. You know what I'm like. I'm terrible for getting bands' names wrong. You get the names on the screen in front of you. Don't mean to say that's how they're pronounced. So I think it's The Decrees. Apologies if it isn't. And if you're fans of Jimmy Eats World, Alkaline Trio, Blink 182 and Green Day, you're going to absolutely love this one. I know I did, and I can't wait to share it with you. So that is what is on this week's podcast, episode 32. It is a little bit of a longer one than expected, but it's going to be well worth it. So sit back, take your clogs off, take the weight off your feet, crack open a beer, and sit back and chillax. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Liam is here.
Hey.
How's it going, pal?
Yeah, great, mate.
First of all, I'd just like to say a big sorry. I was unable to go out for a drink with you and the lads this Saturday night.
No, that's all right. There was a solid four of us.
Well, I went out for a quiet one on Friday night, and I didn't get home until nearly 2 o'clock in the morning, and spent far too much money. You know what it's like, don't you?
Very, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
And then to top it all off, Nikki's car sort of screwed up on Saturday, and I was out till nearly 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon trying to fix her car with the mechanic. Yeah, me fixing a car,
God.
And all it seemed to be was I needed to take it for a 15-mile spin for the computer to recalibrate and stuff. That's all the problem was.
Where'd you end up, Plymouth?
No, I drove over to Shitsgard, down the road. It's actually called Lisgard, but we call it Shitsgard because it's a bit of a hole, really, to be fair. So that was it on Saturday. And I after all of that I didn't really then feel like I could be asked to go out.
It's fair enough, mate. No, we did have quite a bit to drink.
So I don't like letting the mates down, especially where drinks are involved. But what did you get up to?
We popped over to a local pub.
Yeah?
And drank. That's pretty much it, mate.
You
have to come next time. We'll do it every week.
I know, Liam was... I knew that you was a little bit drunk because you was texting me at about 12 o'clock talking about vaping.
1:45, I think you'll find.
1:45. So did you get did you spend some money?
No, because in hindsight, I realised that not only do I not smoke, but I don't vape.
Well, so, yeah, but you do enjoy it.
go.
You had a little go, and you do. Did you enjoy it?
I did, yeah. When I woke up in the morning, I had about 9 pages open on the Mac, all reviews of vaping stuff, and yeah, I did my research when I was drunk, but no, I didn't buy it.
Well, me and Nick was down the pub on Friday night vaping like crazy, and in all fairness, the landlady down there doesn't actually mind us vaping, but the new landlady wasn't there, and she had 2 bar staff working there, and there was one lad that was in the bar that doesn't like vaping, so me and Nick decided that we were just going to see how much smoke we could actually vape in the pub.
Kicks out a fair bit of vapor, isn't it?
Yeah, but we was like properly giving it
Stars
the
in your
beans.
eyes.
And honestly, it filled the whole place up with smoke, full on. It was like a smoke machine had been in there. And then the landlord come down and well, no, it wasn't the landlord. The lad that was behind the bar come down and said, "No vaping." Tapped me on the shoulder. "No vaping. Any more of that, you're barred." So that's the end of vaping down the Bullers on a Friday night.
Then you ended up in Plymouth.
Yeah, I did. Then I ended up in Plymouth. We jumped in the taxi to get some nosh, and
Like
ended up
you do.
driving about 10 miles down the road into a 24-hour establishment that sells breakfasts, and spent 10 quid on a fried breakfast.
Most people, you only live there. Most people just stumble home and put a pizza in the microwave. Or
Well,
something.
at one stage, we was going to buy an Indian at one stage, and we all jumped in a taxi because a mate of ours, Griff, he's actually a taxi driver. So on a Friday night, he drives us all around to get some food. And I said, "Griff, I said, I know you want an Indian, mate, and I'm quite up for an Indian as well, but where are we going to get an Indian at 12 o'clock at night?" And we did struggle.
Yeah, it sounds like it, mate. Good night, though.
Anyway, as well as Liam in the studio this week, I am very, very excited to have a very special young female with us. She is bubbly, she is a mother, she is a wife, and an inspiration to us all. She debuted the Mark Jeffrey podcast show back on episode 20, July the 6th, and she's got over 30,000 followers on Facebook, and a voice and piano skills that can even give Elton John a run for his money. I introduce to you Miss Samantha de la Haye.
Why, hello.
What an introduction that was, wasn't it?
I know, I feel a bit intimidated. I'm going to leave now.
How's it going anyway, Sam? Nice to have you back in the studio again.
Oh, it's nice to be back. I had such a lovely time the last time. It was great fun.
Well, welcome back. Now, we've got a new geezer in the studio here, Liam. I know we've been having a little bit of a chat before we've gone done the podcast, but you've never met each other before.
No.
No.
Now I'm going to do... last week we had on episode 31, we had Jules and Dan in, aka Mr. Rich and the Caretaker. And like yourself, it was the first time with Liam. Sounds a bit wrong, that does.
Sounds like a threesome.
Yeah. So we're going to start this episode like we did last week, and we're going to have a little bit of a bonding session.
I look forward to it.
So Sam, this is Liam.
Hi, Liam.
And
Hi, Sam.
Liam he's kind of like my cupboard gimp. I only bring him out on special occasions, sort of thing.
That's
Isn't it? No,
one of your worst ways of referring to me, yeah. But yeah, no,
Bring
I'll
out the
go with
gimp.
it.
Liam,
Is that
Liam
my
the
cupboard gimp?
So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a couple of questions here now. So Liam, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to ask Sam a question, something off the top of your head, just as a little bit of a bonding thing, so you get to know Sam a little bit more intimately. should we
Oh,
say.
hello.
Okay.
Yeah. So go on, fire away.
As it were. What is your favourite television programme at the minute?
The Good Wife.
Good Wife.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
Talk into the microphone, Liam.
I haven't. Sorry, no.
I'm just going to
I was
snap
being
your legs in a minute.
unprofessional. I was
He's
turning
being-
around to...
The studio's laid out, you see, at the moment, that me and Liam are facing a wall, and Sam is behind us. So we have to be very rude in the studio because we can't actually look at our guest, and we do try to talk to our guest, and then this happens. You can't hear what we're saying, you see. So you got to talk into the microphone. We've been doing it a long time now, Liam. You should know the rules.
Thank you.
You're going to get like really bad neck ache by the end of this, aren't you, Liam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your favourite TV programme? What did you say it was? Sorry,
I'm just coming up to the end of watching The Good Wife, which is about a feisty single mum lawyer and how she whips ass, and she lives in Chicago, and she's like super cool.
I was going to say it sounds American to me.
Yeah, strong woman, fights for good causes.
Because the Americans are making some bloody good TV at the moment, aren't they?
Oh, they've got a lot of good stuff.
They have.
Especially at Netflix. A lot of their stuff, like Amazon.
You're doing it again, Liam. Just talk into the microphone.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put you in detention in it, you gimp.
It's the micro. I'm going to blame the microphone.
Anyway, Sam, have you got a question that you'd like to ask Liam?
Liam.
Yes.
What's the naughtiest thing you've done this week?
Don't tell him that, for Christ's sake.
Jesus. Naughtiest thing this week. Well, we ended up at the pub earlier on straight after work. Not that naughty though.
Well, the pictures that you was putting on Facebook that was naughty.
Imagine like you're in confession.
How would you say?
I haven't
I've done something very wrong this week.
Forgive me, Father, for I've actually done really nothing naughty.
Oh, you're a good boy.
He is a good boy.
Yeah.
He is
It's
a
only
good boy.
Tuesday though.
So that's it. A little bit of an introduction to you two.
That's the end of
Quick cut.
Wasn't the best questions in the world. We might edit those ones. But
that's the
hey,
end
there
of that
you go.
feature.
Shit happens. So, Sam, what have you been up to since we last met? Way back, I think it was. Did I say July the 6th?
Was it July the 6th?
It seems a long time ago.
It seemed like yesterday to me, actually.
Yeah.
It really does. Well, summer holidays, having lots of fun. Were you doing that with your rum?
I don't know.
Liam's slowly getting drunk, by the way, as we're having this conversation.
I'm trying not to make the ice rattle.
What it is we have been talking.
A silencer.
If you're a new listener, we have been drinking Kraken now for a long time. Well, I have. And I've it's about for the last 2 months I've been drinking this drink called Kraken, and there's a drink called a Kraken Storm where it's ginger ale, Kraken, ice, and lime. And I've been keep telling Liam about it, and he hasn't had chance to have one yet. And I made him one this evening. I bought a bottle of Kraken. It was on special at Waitrose. £20 a bottle. This isn't an affiliate link to Waitrose, by the way, but you can go to Waitrose and buy it. £20
It's a
bottle.
quality shop.
It is on special offer. It's from drop £3. So now's the time to go and buy it. So yeah, I just gave it to Liam. Now
That
it's
was
his first time.
pretty much an advert.
What do you think?
You
Do you
realise
like?
that's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
Anyway, shut up, Liam. Sam, what have you been up to then? You've been on holidays.
Well, you like to say holidays, but when you've got the kids, is it really a holiday? I'm not sure.
Of course it is.
Yeah. No, I've been really busy. So, the summer holidays has been obviously with my son, and I've been gigging in lots of holiday parks. I sing a lot of Park Dean Resorts, holiday park in Cornwall and Devon. I've been doing loads of weddings as well, and just kind of really pushing my online presence as well, which has been really nice because I haven't been teaching this summer. So the time that I have had off, I've been able to just kind of really push Facebook and be on Facebook more. I've quietened down a little bit because I've started teaching again. So that's kind of what I've been up to, really.
Because you're a teacher, aren't you?
I am. I'm a piano teacher and a vocal teacher, and I'm also a music therapist. So I've started working as a music therapist as well now.
Tell me a little bit more about that then. Music therapist. That sounds kind of interesting.
Oh, okay. I tell you what, why don't you ask me a question about a client group, and I'll tell you how music therapy can be used.
About a what?
A client group. For example, would you like to talk to me about music therapy with adults or children or people with dementia or people with strokes? I mean, music therapy can be used for so many different things. So,
all right. Well, I've got a mate of mine, and I've got a mate of mine. It's not actually me. It's a mate of mine.
Oh yeah.
That
we believe you.
We've got an Instagram page, and he's keep putting parts of his body on the Instagram page in full view of us males. And how could
music cure him?
How could music cure him?
Well, is he addicted?
He's something.
Well,
would you say it was a bit of an addiction?
The last night he put his penis on one of the pages, and today it was his balls. So I would say that's 2 days in a row of putting personal parts on. So I'd say yes, it is quite addictive. Wouldn't you say? It's wrong.
Yeah, I don't quite know how to answer that one. I've never had a client group.
Honestly, it isn't me, is it, Liam? It's not.
What would you suggest then?
How could music help him?
Recorder and maracas.
I'd say I just run, actually, if I'm honest with you. I don't really know how music would help him in that sense. I think music therapy can be very good for, I worked with addiction actually in Plymouth last year, and I find people who have addiction problems are actually the most loveliest people in the world, and they are a privilege to work for. They're gorgeous.
Okay, so I'm a sex addict.
Yeah.
How can music help me being a sex addict?
Well, I think first of all, I'd question why you were an addict.
Just like sex?
No, it would never be just about sex.
Well, it is, isn't it? There's so many. I mean, we're going to be talking about this in a minute. We're going to be talking about. Last week we spoke about James. Was it James Arthur? Was it James Arthur we talked about last week?
Rita Ora.
He had a bit of a fling with Rita Ora, and ever since they've split up, he is now a sex addict. And also, we're going to be talking a little bit later on about that bloke Brand. What's he called? Russel Brand, who was a sex addict at once upon a time. And there's a lot of these people out there. I've never even knew that it was you could be addicted to sex in the sense that, but it's actually a thing now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
but addict. There are several forms of addiction, though. There are several forms of addiction. You could be addicted to sex. You could be addicted to work. You could be
definitely not.
Oh, I am. I'm massively addicted to work. You could be addicted to drugs and alcohol. You could be addicted anything that causes a problem in your life. Anything. I would say an addiction is when you would choose that over your family, and you, like, for example, I mean, even like with heroin users, right? There are very much functioning heroin users in and around the southwest of England. And they're functioning, you know, they've still got a wife, they've still got kids. So would that be an addiction? Well, in my opinion, not necessarily, because as long as they are functioning and they can pay their bills and they've relationships okay, it's when they would choose the sex or the heroin over their loved ones, over their family, and when they're left with nothing. So that's when it becomes an addiction. And without going into too much depth, if you think about addiction, normally addiction starts when you are a child and you can't, maybe as a child you haven't had your needs met by your parents or for whatever reason. And then you get to 14, 15 years old. And I'll give an example of alcoholism. You'll get to 14, 15 years old, and then all of a sudden you feel like there's a hole in you, and maybe you feel weird, maybe you feel like you don't belong. And then you have that pint, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is it. This is what makes me whole, complete, and perfect.
You're describing
my life.
You described my first pint. It was around my mate's house when I was doing my paper round, so it must have been when I was about 14. The only problem was that pint that I had was actually a pint of spirits from the drinks cabinet.
Oh.
And I was instantly drunk. It was a fantastic day. I had my paper round to do the next day of a hangover. But that was when I was 14. So, yeah. Thank you, Robert, if you're listening.
But, so there we go. A lot of people would get that feeling, but then after you've had that drink the following day, you would have a sense of shame. You would have a sense of feeling of shame.
I was loving it.
He had another one.
Fair enough. But then with addicts, there tends to be an element of shame. Maybe they've drunk too much. Maybe they've done something that they shouldn't have done, or they've said something that they shouldn't have said. There's an element of shame. And then they get that hole, that emptiness again, like, oh, I told you I was weird. I told you no one loves me. And then they drink again because they want that feeling of feeling good. And that's how the shame cycle appears. John Bradshaw talks about the shame cycle. So how music therapy can work is whatever addiction it is, whether it be sex addiction, whether it be work addiction, whether it be alcohol addiction, music therapy can work by actually looking at people's self-esteem, looking at people's isolation, looking at people's identity, and actually, instead of filling that hole with the addiction, so whether it be drugs, sex, actually using music to fill that hole. So, for example, when I was working with these alcoholics in Plymouth, why are you laughing?
I'll tell you in a minute, I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, when I was working in Plymouth with these alcoholics, we did a lot of songwriting. And it was a fantastic way for them to actually reflect on who they were in the verse, so who I was, and then who I want to be, and then in the middle bit there could be where I am right now. And so they start to, and then once they've created this song, they have a sense of worth. So that hole is being filled with a sense of worth, a sense of like, oh my gosh, I wrote that song. And then what I did with music therapy is I would ask them if they fancy doing a solo. Now, initially, they were like, oh my God, no. Over 12 weeks, by the end, they recorded a solo. And then they had that CD to take away with them and to feel really proud of what they've achieved. So building self-esteem and confidence. So that's one way of using music therapy.
Because the reason why I was laughing is because when I was in my younger days, mum and dad, if you listen, just close your ears a minute. Well, I was a bit of a stoner. I was a bit of a stonehead in my younger days. And the one thing that used to help me when I'd come home and have a smoke or something and make me feel better was putting on a bit of Radiohead, which is probably the one group that you don't really want to listen to when you're feeling a bit vulnerable and low and down. Put a bit
Morrissey
of Radiohead
on it.
A Morrissey, or another group of mine that I really, really love as well. Was the Verve, and they're very, very much, the drugs don't work. Well, they were helping quite well at the time.
But
in
why?
the 90s.
Okay, so my question would be to you is why? And I know why, but why do you think that would work? Why do you think listening to Radiohead or listening to the Verve made you feel better?
I think it was because, obviously when you're stoned, you like to listen to music that you can relate to at that time, perhaps. Mm-hmm. And the guitar riffs, the Verve were playing, and Radiohead and that sort of stuff. It just seemed that I could relate to it, and it was a very much a stoner's music, I suppose you could say. Really, it just made you feel good when you was a little bit stoned. Yeah.
Do you think also? Do you think also music? Like, because I've had this the past couple of weeks when I've been driving back from a gig, and I've wanted to relax, and I've been really buzzing from stage, and I've listened to a female singer, a songwriter called Callaghan. Actually, she's beautiful, and she takes me to that place that I want to go. So, driving on your own without listening to any music, you can't get to that place. You almost need someone to take your hand to get to that place, whether it be when you're stoned, you need to get to. Does that make any sense? And so
and they were already there, so I suppose it was half the journey.
They help you on your way.
Yeah. I don't know, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
But it's an expression, and sometimes this is why I think music therapy is different to therapy, because I am a qualified therapist in the sense of you could come and talk to me for an hour if you wanted to about your problems, but sometimes
I haven't got any problems.
Okay, no, fair enough. But sometimes people don't have the words. Actually, sometimes people they feel something, but they don't quite know what it is. And you put instruments out in front of them, and they explore those instruments and those sounds and the timbres, and like they may grab a drum, and they may not even realise that they are so angry, and they'll bang that drum, and they'll bang it and bang it and bang it and bang it and scream, and then afterwards they'll
sorry
go,
about that.
"Whoa, oh my gosh, where did that come from?"
I think actually, I've got a whole load of notes in front of me about what we're going to talk about this
Throw
evening.
them out the window.
Forget them.
And this is the great thing I love about podcasting, because you write these notes down. You're not always necessarily going to follow those notes. And we're talking about something now. Liam's drinking. He's drinking the Kraken. We'll talk about alcoholism in a minute. You could talk to Liam about this in music.
Aww. But
no, what I'm getting at is that's a good thing about podcasting when you do it, because you end up talking about something that you haven't actually put down on the notes, and it's actually gone quite well, because you have a look on the computer here now, Liam. I do believe that today is it Mental Health Day?
Oh, it is.
World Mental Health.
It's World Mental Health Day.
Yeah.
So it was quite an interesting one that we actually managed to get onto that, when the question that I was going to ask you was about festivals. Have you been to any festivals this year?
So did I tell you I supported the Shires?
Well, this is where we was going to lead on to, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a bit random.
How did that all come about then? The Shires. I've seen the Shires at the National Shire Horse Centre in Devon. Is that what you're talking about? Isn't it?
The Shires are like a massive country band.
Yeah,
they're
I
actually
have
English.
actually seen them.
I didn't
I have
realise
actually
they're
seen
English. They're English. So I because my other half Tristan's sound engineer, and so we as a family we went up to support him to this festival in Norfolk, and because I do my Facebook Live gigs every Thursday, we drove up on Wednesday. So I thought, well, I'll just do my Facebook Live gig in a field, because as long as I got my phone and a keyboard, I don't need anything else. So I had my keyboard, and on Sunday morning I was backstage with Chris, and Chris said, "Don't fancy supporting the Shires today, do you?" I went, "What?"
Bit of just a good question to be chucked at you, isn't it? To be fair.
And he was like, "You're on in an hour if you got a pretty dress," and I was like, "Whoa, okay." And you know what? I thought I would be really nervous, because there was about 3,500 people there, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be so scared. But I think I don't know if you find doing this podcast, but doing my Facebook Live gig for over a year now didn't faze me in the slightest. I was on the side of the stage and I had Chris and Tristan freaking out, going, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm absolutely fine."
Yeah, but it's a little bit different, isn't it? Because I remember when you and me, Liam, when we first started off at Eat Music, our first radio station, I'd done it about 2 or 3 months before. I'd done it solo, didn't I? And then you come on board with me.
On.
But that first time I went in the studio and recorded my pilot show, bearing in mind I'd never ever been into a studio before, I applied for the vacancy, got it, and they were like, "Right, come in on Monday and record your first show." And I was just like, right. Okay. So it's the first time I've ever been in a studio, and I was absolutely bricking it. And you know, whenever you listen to your first thing that you ever do, it always sounds a little bit crap looking back on it. But it was a really, really good first appearance. But what I'm getting at is it's a little bit different, us three, you know, sat here now looking into a microphone, than you being on stage with 3,000 people's beady eyes all looking up at you. I don't think I could do that.
Do you know what? I think that was, to be honest, the most scariest thing is Facebook Live. It really is. To be sat there on the piano with literally your camera and that little hole and seeing like 25 people watching you, not knowing who they are, not being able to see who they are, that for me is way more scary than seeing lots of people's heads.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you stood on stage then, or you sat there on your piano or whatnot, and there's all those people in front of you, what advice would you give anybody that's in that situation? Do you like look at somebody, zone on that person, and just imagine that that's one person that's watching you, or you know what? How do you prepare yourself for something like that?
Well, when I used to work on cruise ships many years ago, and that was my first professional singing job, a comedian said to me, because I was really crap and just really insecure. He said, "You know what? If you're in a room full of, say, 30 or 40 people, okay, just find one person in that room that's smiling, just one person, and focus on that one person and forget the rest. And if you focus on that one person that smiles, by the end of the show, they'll all be smiling." And it really works.
That was a bit of advice that I gave on one of my previous episodes. I don't know which one it was, but, you know, look at it, that say there's 20 people in an audience. Those 20 people that's there, out of those 20 people, there's going to be 10 people there that like you, right? There's going to be the other 10 people that just thinking, "Oh, crap," you know. And so rather than trying to make those other 10 people happy, concentrate on the 10 people that you are making happy and give them 100%. And then, do you know what? Out of those 10 people, 2 people out of the 10 that didn't like you will say, "Well, you know, actually he was quite good." So that's 12 people that's actually at the end of your gig that's liking you. The word passes on, and by the next time you do a gig, that could then be 14 or 15 people, and you just keep on building like that. Don't worry about the haters. Forget the haters.
You're always going to have haters. But I think also, I always find the best shows are when I just appreciative to be on that stage and like happy, and like as long as I have a good time. And I was thinking to myself on that stage, I was like, I may never get the opportunity again to sing in front of the show. I may never get the opportunity. So I am going to just be here, be present, absolutely in this moment, loving it. And sod the lot of them who don't like me. I don't care.
How did you get on with The Voice? Because you auditioned for The Voice last time you was in here. How did you get on?
Oh, I didn't get through.
Hard luck.
No. But, you know, so anyway, I think one of the reasons why I wanted to get on The Voice was to get my likes up on Facebook, which I did. And the second reason was to get more wedding work, which I'm doing really well. I'm getting loads of weddings at the moment. So, yeah, so actually, do I need The Voice? Do I need to sign that bit of paperwork to say I'm not going to be earning any money because they're taking it all? Not really.
No.
I mean, at the end of the day, The Voice was there for a reason. You took the reason and it's helped you. So, yeah, exactly right.
But they're lovely. And actually, I'd highly recommend anyone, whether it be the Children's Voice or The Voice, to go for it, because they were very professional, very courteous, very polite. And I would probably do it again next year.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Best of luck for you. So, did they give you any feedback at all?
No.
That's the end of that one.
Voice, stick your fingers up to the voice. you don't need the voice sound. Anyway, I do believe, on one of your Facebook pictures that you was playing Jules Holland's piano.
Yes.
Did he actually know that you was playing with his piano?
No.
He does now.
Tell us a little bit about that then.
Well, it was the same weekend. So it was on the Friday, and the Jules Holland's lorry driver was there, knew Tristan really well, and we were talking, and I said, I play piano. He goes, would you like to play Jules Holland's piano? I was like, oh yes, I would. So that's and it was a great show. Yeah. So yeah, I've played Jules Holland's piano.
That's cool.
You'd like to have a go on that, Liam, wouldn't you? You're a bit of a pianist, aren't you?
Are you?
Am I a pianist?
Yeah. He is. He's one of these people, right?
Liam's sweating now.
He's quite gifted in the sense that you could put someone in front of him and say, play that, and he would give it a bloody good go. And because you can't read music, can you, Liam?
No, it's kind of, I taught myself bits and pieces. But yeah, mess around with it more than anything.
Yeah. So now, on the last time you was on this podcast, you told me that I had to work more on my social media skills and stuff like that. And I noticed you have, and I haven't.
You have, though. You've done all the Twitter stuff, which I need to learn about. Oh, my God.
Yeah, but you was pushing me more down the Facebook route, and I've noticed you've got 30,000 followers on Facebook. What the frickin' hell?
How many followers did I have on Facebook last time I was here?
Well, I don't think it was 30,000, was it? What have you been doing? Have you been showing naked pictures of yourself and getting or something? What have you been doing?
No, I've been doing a Facebook ads campaign.
It's obviously worked then.
Yeah, no, it's been really cool. I've been doing just a Facebook ads campaign for 2 months, doing it worldwide. So I've got listeners in I've got American listeners, Canadian listeners, Nepal listeners, Thai listeners, Australian listeners, Kuwaiti listeners. Actually, I've got Cornish listeners, all sorts of listeners now.
Christ.
Yeah, I got loads of listeners. And actually, I met someone that I met online who's been following me, and actually, really lovely guy. I met him on Twitter 2010, 11, and I met him for the first time on Saturday.
What you actually?
I physically met him and his family.
Well, you arranged to meet him, or you just by accidentally bumped into him?
No. I went down to Helston because I was doing a weekend in Helston, and he lives in Helston, and he wants to. We're going to do a little bit of a deal where he'll do my video and I'll sing at one of his housewarming parties, I think. So we were talking about that anyway, and he said, "Oh, let's hook for coffee," and it was lovely. It was just lovely. It was so lovely to meet Rob, because Rob hooks up every week. He listens to my Facebook Live gig every week, and like online, you can speak to a lot of people online, don't you? But you never really meet them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, really nice, and I thought I might do more of that, like people that have been following me and kind of joining my community and my tribe. To actually hook up, because we're so like-minded, like we just like the same things.
Have you thought about doing going on to your social page, your listeners, and saying that you're going to be doing a gig in a pub or something like that, and inviting them all along and see who comes along? Have you thought about doing that?
Well, actually, Rob got me to book a gig down in Helston on the 2nd of December, and I think it's called the Bell Inn down in Helston. I'm going to do a piano vocal gig, so come on down.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but I think it's the Bell Inn because I only booked it on Saturday. I'll let you know to put in the notes. But so that'll be a nice little gig to try out. Yeah.
Something, yeah. Anyway, I don't know where to go from that.
Let's get my phone out and find out.
No, we'll talk a little bit about your Facebook Live gig that you do every Thursday lunchtime. Are you enjoying it? How's it going? I do try to tune in every now and again, but I generally watch it on replay because some of us got to work. But you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, most people do replay. That's the great thing about Facebook Live gigs, though. I do not. People always apologise to me and say, "Oh, I'm really sorry I didn't catch you live." I'm like, it really doesn't matter. The fact that you've even watched 5 minutes is amazing, let alone live. The reason why I do it live is because there's something really special about interacting with the people that are live. It's not just a case of I'm going to video myself and play. It's a case of, hi guys, let's hang out. Let's have coffee together. I'm going to sing you a song. I'm just going to sit here and chat a bit like this. So, we just hang out for like 15-20 minutes on a Thursday.
It is good, so check that out. I'll put the links to Sam's page up on my show notes, and you can get on there on a Thursday and check out what she's all about. But I wanted to sort out, last time you came here, we talked about all the things that I was going to do, and I wanted to sort out my web page, but I haven't done that yet. I wanted to sort out my stupid podcast profile picture with this spider owl thing, because that's really peeing people off.
Have you not changed that yet?
I still haven't done that yet.
Oh, Jeff.
And I wanted to sort out my Facebook Live, do a little bit more interaction with the people that listen to my podcast, but I haven't. So I'm very, very sorry to you at home for being so lazy. But last week I did start focusing on my Twitter account, and for October I set myself a challenge to try sending, answering, and promoting and socialising at least 2 times a day on Twitter. And I can honestly say that by doing that, my viewing figures have gone up, I would say, by about 25-30% in October.
It's paying off then.
So, yeah, it does. Twitter is such a massive media. Whatever you're involved in, get on Twitter and set yourself a challenge. Do this challenge every day. Go on, at least in the morning and the evening, talk to people, like and share things. And it really does pay off. And you have, haven't you? With Facebook, whatever, you have got to talk to your people and just keep on nagging them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm super inspired because I actually thought Twitter was dead.
No, it's massive.
I really did. And I'm like, going to get on Twitter, but I need you to teach me actually now.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about setting up like a little networking group, just you, me, and possibly a couple of other people in the group, and just help one another out because I'm now in the Brick Pod scene, which is a network. I nearly got it wrong earlier.
Again.
Yeah, I'm in this little network and we all help one another out. We retweet one another on Twitter and we like one another's stuff. And just by being involved in a network, it really, really does help. And, I think that's something that you and me can set up and help one another out on. I know, I do a podcast and you do your singing and that, but it's all entertainment, so you can all help one another out.
Yeah, and I think also it can be a little bit lonely, can't it? Did you find that? I mean, now that's why you've got Liam, haven't you? Because you were a bit lonely, weren't you?
Well, yeah.
I'd get a bit lonely.
It's just when I haven't got anybody in the studio to talk to, like yourself. I just felt that it was a case of I was staring at the wall, looking at my certificates for Taekwondo. Did you see that?
Trophy cabinet.
Looking at me trophy cabinet. No, and my picture of Lawrence Reed at the back there. That I got signed from Lawrence Reed. Yeah, no, I just felt that it was. It's a bit more personal for my podcast if I've got somebody to talk to. I know it sounds strange because a lot of podcasts, it's more personal, me talking to that one person that's listening, if you know what I mean. But I just found this podcast was better having somebody in the studio with me interacting. Does it make sense at all?
Then you got a cupboard gimp.
Yeah, Liam the gimp. I think he's taken that quite personal, Sam.
I haven't. Dead air.
Awkward silence.
As I walk out.
Yeah, I've also been giving Instagram a go, and but Instagram, it's slowly getting there, but it's hard using Instagram. Any of you two use Instagram at all?
Not really. Is it just like Twitter but with pictures? Really, isn't it? Is that the way to describe it?
No, I don't know. It's very much like Twitter, to be honest with you. Because obviously you can use Twitter, you can use pictures and videos on Twitter. It's just another medium out there to use.
Haven't they increased the
You've got to
number
have
of characters
big boobs and look beautiful. Oh, look, there you go.
Apart from mine are man boobs. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Tristan's back from his busy summer festival period. What's he been working? Who has he been working with this year? Anybody interesting that he's been working with?
Oh, well, he did the massive gig for Ray Davis from the Kinks.
Yeah,
the Party in the Prom.
Party in the Park, was it?
No, Party, the proms, the BBC proms.
Now that looked really interesting.
Yeah, he did a massive orchestra, choir, and the band, and that was super exciting and stressful for him. And then he's been working with our son.
All right. Tell me more.
No. We've been changing rooms, so he's been fixing a new room for Edison. So, yeah, and then he is. What's he doing? Oh, he's been working for I think it's called the Straits Experience. They're the Dire Straits, but without Mark Hoffler. Mark, is that right? Mark?
Talk to Liam about this. He's a Dire Straits fan.
Mark Knopfler.
Mark Knopfler. That's it. Mark Hoffler.
He's a right boffin for music, Liam. He knows his music.
So he's been doing loads of gigs for them. So he's in a few weeks going to be going off to Croatia and Russia and Spain and all that kind of thing. Yeah, so he's been doing that.
Sounds interesting.
Do you ever get a chance to go off with Tristan and check out all these people backstage?
I used to. It's difficult now. Edison's at school. So, but I used to. I mean, I've met Petula Clark, met Ray.
Oh, look, Liam, on Ray terms now. It's not not Ray Davies. It's my
Talking
mate
about
Ray.
the Kinks.
Yeah.
No, I know Ray quite well now. I've worked with Ray as well. So I've worked with Ray on his own music projects. We did a music thing, and he helped me get onto, he curated, Meltdown Festival. So I sang with the cast of Kinks and Eddie Reader then. So Ray's been really quite cool in helping me, and did a songwriting course with him as well. So yeah, I know Ray quite well.
That's cool.
But who else? Jason Donovan.
Oh.
Love a bit of Jason Donovan.
Oh, Jason.
Too many broken hearts in the world.
I love a bit of Jason. He's another one that's had a bit of a rough time in the past. You know, he's had a lot of addictions, hasn't he?
Yeah. No, he had massive cocaine addictions, didn't he? Yeah.
Which is nice. I'd love to be able to
That's
afford.
the 80s for you.
I'd love to. No, it's the 90s actually.
It was
90s.
it was still into, because my friend. Can I say this? Anyway, well, when I was at the Brit School, my friend was working in the show that he was working on, and she was only 17, and she was doing loads of coke with him. So that was only in 2001.
Kids,
2002.
Crack is whack. I've always said it. Crack is whack.
Yeah.
But no,
Stay at school, kid.
I never realised that he was into that. Really, you know, he has aged for it though, isn't he? But he's not looking too bad now. Really,
he's a nice guy. Tristan said he's an absolute scream. He's a lovely, lovely guy, and he's the same age as Tristan, so I think they were kind of quite pally. Yeah,
I'd like to have met. Is he still with Charlene?
No.
Is he still with Charlie?
No.
Yeah. So, what sort of music do you listen to, Sam? What's your? You know, you're a wedding singer, an event singer. Who do you consider is your biggest influence in your work?
Tori Amos, Sarah McLachlan, Chantal Krevichuk, Carole King. Woo!
I've never heard of any of these.
Have you not? In fact, I've just been.
King.
Carole King.
Yeah.
No. I haven't got a clue who Carole King is.
You don't know who
No, I haven't got a clue who she is.
Okay. I feel the earth move.
I know who she
under
is.
my feet. I feel the sky tumble. You know that one?
But I couldn't tell you who her name was, if you know what I mean. You obviously know her, Liam, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liam's a big 60s.
Oh.
He loves 60s
70s,
music.
80s,
60s,
all of
70s,
it.
80s. Yeah,
The
he loves
60s
it.
gimp.
He is
60s
the
gimp. I'm moving
60s
up.
gimp.
I'm moving on up.
We're
Those
going
90s.
to have to get you a little gimp costume. Perhaps you
Yeah.
could come on the
Oh.
podcast.
Do
you know,
I think we need to get
Am I gonna have to
a
pay for it?
webcam here going on.
Get a webcam.
You said you were going to get webcam, weren't you?
Yeah, get a webcam with Liam with his gimp mask
watch.
and a
Yeah.
ball in his mouth and see how well he can talk in the microphone now. I think it's about time that we should play some music, don't you? So we're going to put this one on now, and afterwards I shall tell you who it is by.
crazy now for your touch somehow.
I need to lose myself in you, 'cause you're quite a view. I need you, 'cause I'm crazy now for your touch somehow. I need to lose myself in you, 'cause you're quite a view.
So there we have it. That was an amazing track from Chantal O'Brien. Like I said, she's an 18-year-old young female from Brisbane in Australia, and she is currently over in the UK, up in London, to fulfill her dream as an artist and a songwriter. The song there was I Need You, and you can check her out on Twitter at www.twitter.com/Chantal07. She's also on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Chantal.O'Brien. And for more information on her, I will put all of those links, etc., on my show notes. Do you know what, Liam? Right, one of my biggest passions in life, yeah, is music, and I find it nice. I find it helps me relax. We've been talking about this earlier on, but since Christmas, I'm feeling a little bit ashamed to say that my love for music has taken a bit of a back seat. I don't know.
I feel like you've said that to me before, but I know you haven't. No,
I am. I'm really struggling at the moment. Music just isn't doing it for me right now.
Is it not?
No.
Oh,
until
that's a shame because.
Well, I really do love my music, but since I've been doing my podcasting since about Christmas sort of time, all of my effort has been going into podcasting, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I just, there's only so much that you can listen to, and like when I'm on post round, I used to listen to radio while I was going around, but now I'm listening to podcasts, and I just find that, am I getting older now? Am I not?
Mate, get into vinyl. Do it.
Yeah, but it's a bit difficult listening to vinyl when you're on your post round, isn't it?
Mate, it can be done. It's difficult and it's not always legal.
Strap a record player to me back
to the top of the van and
might be jumping a little bit, but no. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I understand.
Podcasting is sort of like taking over my life at the moment.
Do you know what though? I had the same thing, and I think it's seasons. I think we're in seasons because I've stopped listening to podcasts the past 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and all I'm listening to is music. And I was like you, absolutely obsessed with podcasts, and now I just want to listen to music. So it's almost like the changing of the seasons. You've gone through spring and summer, and now I'm in autumn. And
I don't see. The thing is, it's like the problem is with me is I never listen to any new types of music. I'm stuck in my ways with music. And I mean, I've got a Spotify account, so I can listen to any music in the world, anything new and whatnot. And I always end up listening to the same albums all the time. And it's just like, I've kind of
You need to spice your music life up.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, but I can't. I find it very, very difficult listening to music at the moment. I don't know how to get back into it.
It's like it sometimes, don't it?
Well, yes. And I think I've actually found something last night that may help. Right, I received a WhatsApp message from my brother. He's living up in Sunderland at the moment with his girlfriend, and he sent me a message. He said, "Have I listened to Liam Gallagher's new album, As You Were?" So I kind of dropped everything. I was getting all my notes set up for tonight's podcast, and I just basically chucked them on the floor. And I thought, right, I'm going to take 20 minutes out, and I'm going to listen to about the first, 6 or 7 songs of his new album. And do you know what? OMG, that's all I'm going to say. I absolutely loved it. Okay. What a fantastic album. I was a fan of BDI when he was in BDI, but this is a different class. He's now, Liam Gallagher is sorted his head out. And
is that real? Really?
Yeah, he has. He's a different man.
I don't think he ever will.
No, honestly,
but I know
he
what
has.
You mean.
He has sorted his head out. He doesn't. I watched him. I don't know where I saw him, but he said now that he was actually when he was at Glastonbury Festival this year, and he went on stage. He was speaking to, I think it was what's that blonde hair woman called that's on Radio 2, the radio presenter, Jo Wiley, the fit one. Jo Wiley, if you're listening, we love you. He was telling her that he doesn't smoke before he goes on stage now. He's given up smoking. He doesn't do drugs, and he looks after himself. And I think it kind of shows. Are you a fan of Liam? Both of you. This is going out to both of you. I don't know who's going to answer it first.
No.
You don't like him?
No.
I never used to be.
No?
Really. I kind of take it or leave it now. I'm going to be seeing him in December.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, he's playing down the pavilions.
He's playing in the old pavilions.
And I saw him. I've seen him with BDI, and I've seen him 2 times now. And I wasn't going to go and watch him, but
What was he like when you saw him last time? Was he? I can imagine him having quite a good stage presence. He's quite a performer, isn't he?
Hold on, I'm going to have a burp. Right, that's better. No, I saw him in 2013. 2013, he was a surprise act. He opened up Glastonbury on the other stage, I think it was. And like I say, he was the first act. He opened it all up over there. And I'm not sure if it was him sounding shit or whether it was just... It's hard to explain. The other stage at Glastonbury is a strange stage. It's like a bowl, and it all depends on where you are in that bowl to how well it sounds.
Yeah.
Whether the speakers are blowing the sound waves over your head.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if it was him sounding shit or whether it was the
Probably.
speakers not doing itself justice. But his stage presence was amazing. The crowd was loving him. Bearing in mind he was the first act to open up Glastonbury, so that kind of like,
It's quite scary, isn't it?
yeah, but he was really, really good, and I was a big fan of BDI, and he played a couple of Oasis tracks. But so you're not a fan of his? What about Oasis? Are you a fan of Oasis?
No.
So you don't like Noel Gallagher neither?
I think I like Noel Gallagher's new stuff, actually. I see. I'm more of a singer-songwriter than a band fan,
right?
if that makes any sense.
Well, honestly, Liam's new album that he's just brought out now, it's a
more
solo
singer-songwriter?
album. It's his own stuff. He's wrote it all himself. It's
I
his
keep
own
thinking
stuff.
you're talking about me, and I've released an album and forgotten. Yes,
Liam, did you know that? Did you know that that's your next
it was
calling
a
in life?
wild weekend.
Well, I mean, Liam, you're a Beatles fan. Honestly, mate, I
Very
think
much
have you
influenced.
listened to his album? Because I
haven't.
think you're going to love it,
It's
mate.
coming on vinyl, so I'm going to have a listen to it. Yeah, and I'm seeing Noel next year.
Yeah,
Me and a mate said we were going to go up London, have a bit of a drink, basically.
yeah.
But yeah, he was playing in April, so we're going to go and see him at the Wembley Arena.
Well, I saw Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds last year at Kendall. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
I think they've done
he
the
is really
best
good.
out of it, really. I think.
Well, I mean, Noel has got his album coming out, I do believe, in November. And I really, really think Liam has won the public over on this one. And I think he may even give Noel a run for his money, for that new album that's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, at the moment, everybody is talking Liam Gallagher. Everybody. I mean, I think his album may have even gone to number 1 at the moment. It's being played everywhere. And people are seeing him clearing his act up, and it's good. I'm really,
I think people want to support an underdog as well, and I really hope that Liam has, because he is a lovable rogue, isn't he?
Yeah,
And I mean, that's
we all
what-
love a rogue, don't we?
Yeah, and I think if he has cleaned his act up, then that is fantastic. I just think, my experience of Liam has been of him being a bit of a dick, but if he's curbed his dickness, can I say that?
Well, you
Curbed his
can.
dickness.
I think that people are now going to... I mean, my opinion of Liam is I always thought that it was Liam that was the dick.
Oh,
but
cheers.
I
Mind you,
actually,
I think Noel is a bit of a dick as well.
I was going to say,
yeah.
I think you will see now soon that Noel is as much of a dick as what
Oh yeah,
Liam
I've
is.
always known that. Yeah, but Noel is a good songwriter though. So Liam has got a voice, but yeah.
Well, I think
They're as bad as each other.
I think
really.
Yeah.
Noel was always jealous of Liam because I think there was very much a lot of rivalry. I think that Liam was jealous of Noel for his songwriting capabilities, and I think Noel was jealous of Liam
Because he was
for
more
his-
good looking.
for his looks and his
Yeah, yeah.
stage presence.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the film. I don't know if you ever saw,
Supersonic.
where they just showed when they went to a recording studio somewhere in the country, and they beat the shit out of each
Did
other
they?
in there, and they were just
Yeah.
smashing each other over the head with cricket bats, and one of them went off and went missing for like 4 days.
Yeah.
They couldn't find him.
Yeah, there's. I think it all
Crazy.
started. I mean, I was watching the other day, and Liam said that he said, well, it all started off when our kid got a bit pissy with me. He says because I bought a brand new stereo. He says, and he had this stereo
They're from
set
Wales
up.
now, are they?
Well, I can't do accents. He set this stereo up in their bedroom because they shared a bedroom, and apparently Liam went out and got pissed up. His first time he ever went and got pissed up,
There's a surprise.
and he woke up in the middle of the night and stood up and he just pissed all over his brand new stereo by accident, and it all kicked off. And he says, "Do you know what?" He says, "It's never been the same since. Our brothership's never been the same
I
since."
thought you meant a stereo.
Well, I hope, honestly, I hope that Liam, this is sorted his head out now. I hope that, because...
He's got kids as well, hasn't he, Liam?
Yeah.
For the sake of his kids, you want him to sort himself out,
But I
don't
mean,
you?
we live in a society where the press and media are always quick to kick celebrities when they're down. And, I just want to wish Liam all the best in his work. And also, I want to talk briefly about Russell Brand.
He's turned his life around, hasn't he?
I heard him last week on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was he's publicising his new book. He's got a new book out. And it's all about his addictions and his gremlins that's been in the past and how he's got over them. And like Liam, I think he really, really has turned a corner. Are you a fan of Russell, Sam?
I do quite fancy him.
You do?
Yeah.
What's it about him that you fancy then?
He's quite eccentric. Yeah,
So
and
do you-
spiritual. I love spiritual men. He's eccentric and spiritual.
So you don't fancy him for his looks then? It's more of his personality, the way he
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah. Yeah. I like his long hair. I like his I like the fact that he wears makeup. I like his eccentricities. I like the fact that he's spiritual and that he's a bit of a rogue. Yeah. I could quite easily snog him in a nightclub if I wasn't married, of course.
But you, Liam? What do you
Could you snog him?
In comparison, no, I'm not hugely either way with whether I never really liked him particularly, but not.
Well, I liked him when he first came out, and then the last, 3 or 4 years, I've just thought he's been a bit of a dick, to be honest with you. He's been on Question Time a few times, giving out his beliefs on Question Time, and I've just thought a few times you're just being a bit of a moron. It gets to a stage where
he's quieting down a little bit. Not that he shouldn't.
I just think he talks and he talks and he talks, and he doesn't let people finish. And
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
But I do like the fact that he doesn't give a shit, and I like the fact that he stands for something. And I think so many celebrities have got this fear of looking good, that they don't stand up and they don't make a stand. And I know what you're saying. He can come across as being a bit of a dick, but at least he does make a stand.
yeah, well, he was spotted by the press this week cradling his 10-month-old daughter. I think she's called Mabel, and they were out with a walk. He was with his wife Laura Gallagher, I think she's called. Quite appropriate name, really, considering we've just been talking about the Gallaghers. But like I say, it's nice to see him taking a grip of his life. And he, like I say, he was on the Joe Rogan show, and he was talking about being an ex-heroin addict and his sex addiction that he had. And what,
See, it's all addiction again, see?
yeah,
he used to
what-
be a postie as well. Do you know that?
I know I didn't.
He used to be a postie, and he put something on Twitter that he felt really bad now because he used to steal from the Post.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. See,
See?
all I've got to do now is start stealing stuff from my job. I've got on my Twitter account. You never know what could happen, Liam. I could be like him.
Just like him. Just like
But no,
him.
I'll tell you what was quite funny, mate, is he was on, like I say, he was on the Joe Rogan show, and he gave a brilliant description to Joe Rogan on what a dogger is. And
We've got lots of them in Callington, haven't we?
Let's hear it.
well, it was quite funny. He was
Continue.
going, because I'll try and do my best impression of him if I can. He's like, yeah, Joey, he says, it's amazing, mate, what we've got over here in the UK. He says, we've got doggers over here in the UK. And Joe's like, what the hell is a dogger? He goes, well, basically what it is, mate, is he says it's you get in a car and you drive out into the woods and you start having sex with some random people in a car, and you look out the window and there'll be people there masturbating all over the windscreen, looking through the windscreen, and that's basically what a dogger is. And it was such
is,
an
isn't it?
amazing... Have you ever been dogging, Liam?
Never been dogging.
You've never been dogging? What about you, Sam? You've ever been dogging?
I'll take my dog for a walk.
No, it's not the same sort of dogging. I actually I was up Kit Hill once, which is
here we
like,
go.
it's like a secluded hill in Cornwall.
It's the night you got arrested.
No, that was a different time. And that
I was joking, but
no,
it's
that-
backfired.
I'll tell you a little bit about that another day. But no, we was up there, and I was about 21 at the time, and I was with this young female, and we was doing the do like you do in the car of an evening. And
What were you doing in the car in the evening?
Well, just
Admiring the view.
just
what?
listening to some music and stuff. And I turned the light on, and there was two blokes in a car parked right beside the car, and they'd seen the lot. So I suppose that's as close to dogging as I've ever been, really. But it was not intentional dogging, because I didn't actually know they were there, because the windows were all
Were they
steamed up.
masturbating watching you?
Do you know what, Sam? I didn't even think about that until what
Can
you
you
two
imagine?
just said.
Oh.
which was nice. Anyway, but like I said, well done, Russell Brand, for keep up the good work, and it's great to see he's looking good at the moment, and I hope the press give him credit where credit is due. Now, after we closed up recording episode 31 last Monday, Liam announced to me the passing of Mr. Tom. Was it Tom Petty?
Oh yeah, Tom Petty.
Such sad news. I just want to. Now I'm going to chuck it over to you here now, Liam. I know you haven't done any research on the computer,
Okay.
but you don't need it, I don't think, because it's your sort of genre of music. And I think
I do
that
like Tom Petty.
I think that you can probably talk a little bit about Tom Petty.
No, he's kind of someone who never. He had been in the public eye, but not for quite a while. I guess since he was one of the travelling Wilburys with Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, George Harrison. So, yeah, but I thought it was a sad thing. It's only when someone kind of passes away that they play all their music on the radio and you realise they've done quite so much.
What amazing band they were, what they call the
Travelling Wilburys, and he had the Heartbreakers he was with as well, which is ironic.
Because in the end he had a heart attack and died. So, yeah, quite.
Keep it light.
But Roy Orbison, briefly talk about Roy Orbison here.
Briefly talk about it.
He wasn't blind, was he?
No, he decided he like those glasses. I think that's
because I always thought he was blind because he was always on stage with the black glasses, and I didn't realise.
No, his early stuff he didn't wear glasses. But no,
there was a bloke actually that used to drink in the Bull's Head in Callington. That I actually thought it was him for a while. And the quite ironic thing about this is that the person that he used to go down to the pub with on a darts night was actually Tristan's mum.
No way.
So I want you to find out who the Roy Orbison lookalike was that used to go out drinking.
You know who that was? That was
no,
Reg.
I don't. That's what I'm asking.
That was Reg.
Who's Reg?
Reg
Orbison.
No. Reg lived with Tristan and his mum and dad because Reg used to own the Palace Theatre in Plymouth.
You're joking me?
No, with John Redgrave. And in actual fact, this weekend, literally last night, John Redgrave's son Dan, who's Reg's nephew, who's from Australia, stayed with us. He's going back to Australia next week.
So there you go.
There we go. Yeah.
But doesn't he look like Roy Orbison?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So there you are, Reg, if you're listening.
No, bless his soul, he passed away.
Well
Sorry, he passed away a few.
Who did? Reg or Roy Orbison?
Reg passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, I thought you meant that he was down your house.
No, Dan, his nephew.
I'm getting confused here now.
Yeah. Great nephew, because Reg is Dan's granddad. Yeah, but Reg passed. That makes sense, doesn't it? Over my head.
My head.
But yeah, bless him. He passed away a few years ago.
Oh.
But he was a good old age. I think he was 90, 91.
Yeah, I was going to say he must have been getting on a bit because I didn't see him. I saw him about 20 years ago and he was looking very much like.
But
Roy
he used to
Orbison.
work for the BBC. He was he did lots of work for the BBC and like quite high up. I don't know what else.
Oh,
but
interesting.
Yeah.
Now another thing briefly I want to talk about is. Last week, we saw the horrific scenes of the mass shooting in America. Now, I haven't got any details in front of me here now, but I think between the three of us, we could probably get enough to talk about on that. I don't know whereabouts it was in America.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, forgive me. But I don't watch much television anymore, and I remember turning the telly on and seeing all these people running around, and what's happening to the world? It's just crazy, isn't it? Why is it all happening?
Do you know the really sad thing is that it's becoming normal? And so when I was on my Facebook feed and then I saw Cheryl, a friend of mine on Facebook, saying, anyone in London still okay? Please check Mark if you're safe in London, because on Saturday there was a terrorist attack in London as well. Did you not know that?
Yeah, there was.
And now it's become so normalised that you don't see those. Is everyone safe in London anymore? Or, and I think that's what's quite scary, isn't it? Is the fact that it's like, oh, okay, it's another one.
Well, you always assume that it is terrorists, isn't it? When there's something reported as well, like they said.
That's the first thing, isn't it?
With that taxi and the police at the end of everything say they're investigating whether it is terrorist related.
Well, I did see something today on Twitter actually, and it was a forensic chap over in America, and he has proof that there was more than one shooter.
Oh.
He was saying that by the forensic reports that was dished out, and him being in forensics himself, that he pretty much would put a week's wages on that there's more than one shooter involved in that incident.
But they didn't know it wasn't a terrorist attack in the sense of ISIS, was it?
No,
Las Vegas. It was just.
I mean, what was it?
they're still unsure of the
Yeah.
motive, really, whether he just had problems himself.
Mental health issues or something like
yeah.
that, because there are, I mean, don't forget, in America there are shootings, like teenagers shooting in schools and also, that aren't ISIS.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
that's what I was getting at. Trump
Yeah.
always talks about the threat of ISIS to the American people, but yet there's thousands of civilians die on the streets, every year from gun crime. Should each and every one of us have the right to defend our castle? Or, I mean, what do you think about it?
Well, house anyway, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about it?
Well,
Should
we
the
pretty much
Americans
do
have
that, don't we?
guns? Should they have guns?
It's a different culture, isn't it? A different way. Their amendment writes that in. They grow up thinking that is their right. That's what they know.
All
So
right, I'll
it's-
put it a different way then. If you was living in America, because we've got a lot of American listeners that listen to the show,
Yeah.
right? If you was one of those listeners and you lived in America, would you carry a gun?
I don't think I'd feel any safer carrying a gun.
No? What about you, Sam? Would you have a gun?
I think you would be destroyed if you used a gun on somebody or if you didn't have a gun. I think that if you had a gun and you shot somebody, I think that would wreck the rest of your life. So I think gun or no gun, in that moment, your life could be completely transformed.
Right, on another, we'll break it down to something different here now. Okay, now you, like yourself, you're a mother and you've got your family around you. Somebody walks in your house with a gun, right? Would you use a gun to protect your family? You get where I'm coming from here
Yeah.
now? It's different to being
I've been
by
watching
yourself,
Criminal
isn't it?
Minds for about 4 years, so I make sure that my doors are locked all the time because of that incident, to be honest. And I know I live in a little village, but I don't care. I will always lock my doors. I hate, just because of Criminal Minds. Has anyone seen Criminal Minds?
Her who must be obeyed upstairs, she watches it quite a bit.
But Criminal Minds is basically where they profile psychopaths and murderers, and I mean, I know it's all fiction, but I wonder if it is or it isn't. I mean, anybody. I mean, look at the village. Actually, a few years ago in North England, do you remember the farmer went crazy and went and did a stampede of that? I mean, a little village probably like where we live.
And how did they try sorting that out? They got Gaza to talk about chicken, didn't they, or something?
That was random, wasn't it?
Raymote, wasn't it, or something?
No,
Raymote.
He turned up with a fishing rod and a KFC bucket of chicken.
What Gaza did, didn't
Yes.
he? Yeah, and he
Not
said
one
he
of his
went-
high
He was
points.
mates and he went to school with him and he was going to try and talk him down with a fishing rod and a box of Kentucky
He
Fried
genuinely
Chicken.
thought he could relate to him. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think also
Probably could.
if it's mental health, then yeah, why not? I mean, if he's having if it was mental health and he was having schizophrenic visions and so forth, and that was his safe person, then yeah, use it. Why not?
Yeah.
On another note, talking about Paul Gascoigne, he has sorted his life out now. He's looking really, really good. I mean, I thought that he was going to be one of the next celebrities
I think
to go.
he was going to end up another George Best, wasn't he, really?
But he has sorted himself. And do you know who sorted him out? His daughter. She's the one that sorted him out. And on the flip side of it, now he is he's come out of remission. Is it remission they call it?
Rehab.
Rehab,
Well, he's been
yeah.
in rehab
Yeah, he's
several
come
times.
out and now he is all right.
But how
his-
long's he
but-
been all right for?
But his daughter's in a right mess now, apparently.
Probably finished her off, and it does take its toll.
Yeah. I don't know, but like I
Yeah.
say, he is. The problem is with Gaza is he is got a very, very high addiction. He's addicted to everything.
Yeah.
I remember watching a thing on the telly where he was spending thousands of pounds a week on sweets. And he had more sweets in his house than a sweet shop had because all of a sudden he had an addiction for sweets. And he was but he gets addicted to every single thing.
I did see a story. It was with Ali McCoist where he said he was upstairs like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and he heard a noise downstairs. And his wife woke him up and said, "Quick! I think someone's broken in." And he kind of went downstairs and he thought, "What the hell am I going to do?" And he could just see someone's back. And they'd opened the fridge and it's Paul Gascoigne. And he just turned around and he said, "What the hell are you doing in my house?" He said, "Making a sandwich." So he went up to the bed and his wife just said, What was it? "Oh, just Paul, he's making a sandwich."
Yeah, but nice little story, that one, Liam.
Yeah, cheers for that anecdote.
But going back to, I don't know, how have we got to talk about Paul Gascoigne? It's just a long, crazy load of gibberish we're talking here today. No, what I was going to say is we was going back to guns, and I just want to finish up on guns by saying I can understand why the people in America want to protect themselves and their family and their house. But do they really need an AK-47 or a thing that can fire thousands of rounds in a matter of seconds? Do they really need something like that to defend themselves?
Well, the problem is the people with the guns, isn't it? Who has got the guns? I think that's the thing. And now what they're looking at is tightening up on a lot of it. We've got really, really tight rules on knives and stuff like that. It's quite similar, isn't it? It's who uses it. It's all right having one good person with a gun, but if they're going to attack hundreds and hundreds of people, it ain't going to do much good, is it?
I think also I think it's not just about guns. I think it's also to do with mental health. And I think, unfortunately, with mental health, it's quite a silent, I say disease. It's quite a silent disease. You know, someone could be inwardly depressed and no one would know. I mean, I was literally reading an article. It's Mental Health Day again today, but I was reading an article about how this girl committed suicide in Tenerife. I think it was last year, and she was a pharmacist from up north, and she went to Wales, and she went to Tenerife with her boyfriend and just committed suicide, and like no one really knew anything about that. So I guess what I'm saying is in America, if there is access to guns and mental health isn't managed, and as it's really difficult to manage mental health, actually, you know, unless people are really aware of it, which is why I guess it's Mental Health Day today, to be aware of it. But it makes it that much easier when you're in that state of delusion to grab that gun. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. No, it does.
And I think a lot of these attacks with guns are mental health issues.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, did you see the interview with it? They were interviewing his brother.
Yeah,
did you see that interview?
He had no idea, or you wouldn't, would you? You know, but he had. It's just like all the other interviews when they interview family. You know, he said we would never have guessed. We'd never have. There was nothing to say that anyone was going to do it. There never is, I guess. Yeah.
So if any of our listeners were involved over there in Los Angeles, you know, our condolences to anybody that might be involved, and hopefully you're all safe and well.
I think also as well, but just before we finish on that note, if anyone is struggling with mental health issues, to reach out, because it's very easy to become isolated, and it's very easy to think that no one understands, but there are people that do. And, you know, if you feel things are getting on top of you, or you feel like no one understands, just do a Google search for mental health. I'm sure there's a number that you can call, whether you're in America or wherever you are in the world, because there are people that are with you, and there are people to support you.
Well, that's why I kind of set up this podcast, to be honest with you. It wasn't to make millions of pounds. You know, if anybody wants to give me £1 million, that's fair enough. You know, it all helps to buy
that
new
as
equipment.
well.
But at the end of the day, I just look at it that this podcast, it's nice that I've got all of these people that listen to this podcast, and I thank you very much for that. When you think of all the media that there is out there, you know, if you're a listener, you can watch the telly, you can watch Sky TV, you can watch on demand, you can go to, there's all these medias of stuff that you can watch. And at the moment, I'm getting a lot amount of people listening to this podcast that choose to listen to this podcast over those other things. And, you know, I've always said, if I can put something out there for people and they can listen to this, and it may stop them from doing something silly, you know, that's the reason why this podcast has been set up, to help people out there. So if anybody wants to get in contact, I mean, have a chat, get in contact with me, jaff10@hotmail.com. And we're here all the time, you know, we'll have a little bit of a chat. And I was up, once upon a time, another little story that we're going to tell you now. I was up Kit Hill, this place that I was telling you about, this dodgy place.
Does this link in with the last story?
No, it doesn't. It's a different story. I was up there in my younger days doing some illegal substances, as in smoking some naughty stuff with a group of friends of mine. And we sat in the car, and to the left of us, there's a car parked up, you know, which up beside us.
Two blokes watching you.
No, it wasn't. We was having a smoke, and
same two blokes.
There's a bloke in the car next to us, and he was committing suicide. He'd put a
Pipe.
hose pipe over his exhaust, and he trapped it in his door. And we went over to the car and got him out of the car, and he come and sat with us and had a bit of a smoke with us. And had probably the last thing you want to give a bloke was just about to commit suicide. But we had a chat to him, and he was there for about 2-3 hours talking to us. And his wife had just left him, and he was a chap from Leicester, and he'd driven all the way down from Leicester and thought that was the place where he wanted to have his last days. And we was there for about 3 hours with him, and in the end, he left us, and he quite often keeps in contact with a friend of ours, and he thanked us very much for helping him out and all this lot. So like I say, it doesn't matter what sort of state you're in, how bad life is, reach out to your mates and tell them your problems. Don't keep it all huddled up inside. That's basically what we're trying to get here today is, if you've got an issue, there are people around that want to share it, isn't there? They want
And
to
I
hear
think
your
you'd be
problems.
surprised. I think a lot of people actually go through similar things, and you'd be surprised, because I think a lot of the time we don't talk about our mental health, do we? It's kind of the taboo thing.
I think we've all got, deep down inside, we've all got mental health problemve. We've all got issues. It's how you manage them.
Society seems to be more that way now. It's so pressured, and I think I notice it is a lot more prevalent, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is.
So I hope that helps. Like I say, get in contact with us in the studio if we can be of help to you at all. Now, I was doing my October Twitter binge last night, and like I said, I've been on Twitter quite a lot recently, and how I find my topics to talk about on this podcast is I go to Google Trends and look up what people at home have been listening to and trending and all that lot. And quite an interesting thing that I did see was that Twitter have seen a huge trend towards World War III. Now, is this a concern that there's loads of people around the world that is trending World War III, destruction?
It's probably closer now than it ever has been, isn't it? With who's in power, and Trump, I think, was saying.
I mean, how close do you think, as a nation, the UK, how close do you think that we are to getting involved now? I mean, I saw on the news the other day about a lot of our warships that aren't ready at the moment. They've got like another year to get ready. They're pushing it forward now to get them ready.
The thing is, it's not like World War II where America could keep out of it for a while, is it? You would be involved in it if it involved anything that was nuclear.
But why should we? Why should we? If
not involved, we'd be destroyed by it. That's what I'm saying.
It's a horrible thing to have to be.
It's a nice one
thinking
to end
about,
on,
isn't it? No, we've got plenty of.
Just thinking about doom and gloom for this episode.
That's how we're going to leave it. The apocalypse.
I mean, I just want to say that old Albert Einstein. It's something that he said once upon a time. He says, "I do not know how what weapons will be used in World War III. But World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones."
It's kind of happening now, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So, how far do you think we are from like that Star Wars Terminator sort of life? Robots and spaceships. How far do you think we are away from that?
A little way off, I think.
You do? Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think so. We can't even get electric cars sorted yet. So.
Well. No. Well, Star Wars, the Last Jedi tickets went on sale
all right, wait a minute.
today.
Yes, I think we're very close to it. Now do the link.
Alongside the new trailer that apparently came out, and also advance tickets go on sale to the Lucasfilm. So go out there and get yours. Are you a Star Wars fan?
I must admit, I saw the last one and it was all right. I've never been a proper Star Wars fan or a Trekkie or anything like that. But yeah, it's all right.
Star Wars fan, Sam?
I don't mind it.
I like a good film.
But do you like Star Wars?
If it's good film.
It's a good answer. That.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen a few Star Wars films and gone, I like it. Would it be like massively like cult, like a follower of it? No. But I don't really follow many things, if I'm honest.
Well, I mean, Star Wars came out in 1977, and I was a month old when it came out. And I remember getting £1 a week when I was getting a little bit older, getting pocket money and all that stuff way back in it was the 80s. So it came out in 77, and by the time the 80s came, I was old enough to earn some pocket money. And I remember saving my money, this £1 a week, to go out and buy those Star Wars figures that I wish if I had kept now, they'd have earned me a fortune. So how much money do you think kids get for pocket money nowadays and from the Tooth Fairy? Because I'm getting to that stage now in my life where the kids are going to have to start.
Think about it.
Well, Zach's lost a couple of teeth now, and he's also going to be start earning his pocket money. What sort of money do you think kids should be getting or are getting pocket money wise and from the Tooth Fairy?
I think £1 a tooth. And bearing in mind I'm 35, so when I was 10, I was getting £5 a week. But
pocket money?
Yeah, but that £5 a week had to be my bus fare to and from school, had to be my money for like going to the cinema. I ended up with like about a couple of pounds a week by the time I took my bus fare off.
What about you, Liam?
Yeah, same,
what
really.
pocket money?
Couple quid, really. Nothing mental.
I never actually got pocket money like
No,
that.
I never did as such.
I got my paper round. I remember doing a paper round. I used to have a morning paper round. I used to have an evening paper round. I used to have a Saturday paper round. I used to have a Sunday paper round. I was just like
Time
a
for
slave,
school sometimes.
really. And I was on £5 a week for my afternoon round, £7 a week for my morning round, and £15 a week for my. So I was raking the money in, really. To
You're
be
more
fair,
money than I'm on now.
yeah, and it's just like,
You made the natural progression to postie then.
and all of that money went on like
Star Wars magazines.
no, a little bit after that. It was probably went on, smoking appliances and drink.
But quick question, because I was thinking about this. Are you good with money?
I'm absolutely shocking with money.
Okay, so because I had pocket money from the age of 8, so I've had to be good with money because my mum and dad never gave me, like if I said, Mum, can I go to the cinema? She'd never give me money. I had that money that I had to budget every week. So if I wanted to go to cinema and it was say £4 by the time the bus fare and I had to save 3 weeks pocket money to go to the cinema. And I'm actually very good with money now.
It's a good way of
So, and I wondered, Liam, what are you like?
start you young. Yeah, kind of similar.
This bloke's probably the richest man I know.
Hey, come on.
He lives at home with his mum still.
Oh,
bless him.
really?
And all of his money that he earns just goes on beer, and the rest of it goes in the bank
Hey,
account.
come on.
Nice.
Beer and vinyl.
Beer and vinyl, yeah.
Mainly vinyl.
Right, he's got a bit of a vinyl fetish. He likes his vinyl.
That's the way to do it, though. Stay at home with your mum, get your washing done, get your cooking done.
Pretty much it.
I'm jealous.
I'm kind of jealous as well. But so it's interesting, really, what people spend their money on, how much money you should give your children. I don't really know, how much to give Zach, to be honest with you.
Difficult, isn't it? Difficult to work out.
How old's Zach?
Zach is 6, so like I say, I'm going to get him doing all the housework soon. Might even get him to do some painting, some decorating, hang some wallpaper.
Could be 1 step forward, 4 steps back, though.
Yeah. Did you know, talking about money, that Britain has until Sunday to spend all its old £1 coins?
So they've messed up a bit with that, haven't they?
Well,
because they really haven't left that long
they haven't.
gap. So like
No.
places like Tesco's are saying now actually we'll accept it for another week.
Yeah.
But there's like the Royal British Legion with the poppies, they're accepting it. So all through selling the poppies, you'll be able to use the old coins. So they might do quite well.
Now
out of
they've
that.
been replaced by this new 12-sided pound coin, and it's taken its place, and it's designed to battle counterfeiters. Now, how is it going to? I remember watching a program on the telly about counterfeit pound coins in the country. How is having a 12-sided pound coin going to be any different to a circular pound coin?
It's really hard to counterfeit.
How?
I think it uses 2 different metals. It's got the little thing that shines. That it's just-
Hologram.
hologram.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Is it?
I
I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, and it's got all. It's quite impressive, like all the different things they put into it. But they reckon like it was a ridiculous amount of the old ones were counterfeit. Was it like 1 in 9 or something like that was counterfeit?
Yeah.
But I wonder how much it would actually cost to counterfeit it. It's
Yeah,
like £1 to counterfeit it. What's the point?
£27 to make one. Yeah, but
Let's get the metal, right? That'd be £1 per metal for your £1, right? Okay, what's the point?
Well, did you know that, like I say, on Sunday,
you know?
Sunday is the day when they're all got to be called back in. There are still 1.2 billion coins still to be returned before October the 15th deadline.
it's a lot, isn't it?
Hey, it's a lot of money, isn't it? So get those pound coins
Get your
in.
sofas.
Yeah, go down the pub and spend as much money as you can. That could be a good excuse for me going out at the weekend. I've got to go and spend all my pound
I'm
coins.
sure they love that. Pay for everything in pound coins.
The 23rd of October. What are you going to be doing, Liam?
Well, I'm gonna be.
Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't.
What about you, Sam? What are you going to be doing?
I'm trying to
What
think.
day is the 23rd?
It will be a Monday.
Is it something that we said we were going to do and I've forgotten?
I know exactly what I'll be doing. The 23rd of October is episode 100 of The
That's it.
Walking Dead hits our screens. It's got a massive cult following around the world, The Walking Dead. Have you seen it yet? I'm going to be a bit peed off if you haven't, to be fair, Liam, because
Prepared
I've
to
been
be
telling
peed
you
off.
for time. You'd love it.
No, I've listened to what you've said and I haven't watched it yet.
Thank you. What about you, Sam? Have you watched Walking Dead yet?
Can you remind me what it's about? Is it about zombies?
It is about zombies.
No.
Yeah. It's.
haven't seen
Have
it.
you seen that film? That English film called 28 Days Later.
Oh, I love that film.
You love that film.
Yeah.
Well, if you love that film, you would love The Walking Dead.
Right.
It's basically on the same sort of scenario where a bloke wakes up in hospital and he's a policeman and he's like, "What? How am I in hospital?" And his wife,
Sounds like Life on Mars.
yeah, and his wife thought that he was dead, so she was shagging his best mate and all this lot. And basically, at the end of the day, he goes out of the hospital and there's zombies everywhere, and he's like, "Where the hell am I?" And he has to go and find his wife and all this lot. And then
Spoiler alert.
yeah, that was episode 1. I think we're now on episode 7 or something now. 100 series 7. So we're now like 100
right.
in. Got a lot of catching up to do, Sam, but it is absolutely amazing.
Well, as I said, I'm finishing The Good Wife soon, so maybe that's what I'll watch next.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's like if you was a
Is it quite scary?
yeah, if you don't like zombies, it's quite scary in the sense that what I'm trying to get at now is if you could choose a weapon to kill a zombie, right?
Is this just building up to this point? Is this the whole show? You were going to ask this one question.
Well, we've been talking a lot about weapons and that, haven't we?
If you were going to kill a zombie,
If you was going to kill a zombie, what weapon would you use to kill a zombie? Bearing in mind, you've got to cut the heads off to kill these zombies.
You've got to cut the whole head off.
Yeah, you got to kill. Well, no, you haven't actually. You got to stab through the brain to kill the zombie.
big knife then.
Yeah, so,
Machete.
Yeah, you'd use a machete.
That's how I do
think
it.
I'd use a machete.
Yeah, we don't
What?
run out of ammo. Do we?
Or I'd
Yeah, but machetes are quite heavy for girls.
yeah, true.
Mini machete.
So would you use a nail file?
I would use... Does it have to go through the whole head to kill it?
No, you just have to pierce the brain. Sort of
Okay,
thing.
I would use one of those small...
Just he thought this through.
Well, for a girl, because, for guys, you've got more strength, but for a girl, I would use one of those small, sharp knives and go...
Yeah, like a little chopper.
like a little chopper, yeah,
Can't
because
be a
I
little chopper,
would
can you,
get a
Liam?
lot more action
Swiss Army knife. That's what we should use.
than a machete.
I think I'd club him to death with a Ginster's pasty. Batter him to death with a pasty. No, but in all honesty, like I say, the 23rd of October is the new series of Walking Dead. I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing.
I shall try and catch up within the next 5 years.
Make sure you do.
I will. Yeah.
Because watching all these programs out, a lot of these programs that we're all watching now are primarily American. There's a lot of American soaps and TV that's watching. Can you remember as a child what? I mean, I've never been a real huge fan of telly. I've not sat down for hours watching telly, but I remember as a child, we used to watch a lot of adverts. I used to actually enjoy the adverts more than what I used to enjoy.
Just record the adverts.
Yeah, like the old adverts on telly.
Were you one of those children who went, Mum, I want that. Mum, I want that. Mum, that's what Edison's doing now.
No, I was never like that.
Mum, I want that. I want that. I want that. Mum.
My 2 children are like that though. Getting up to Christmas now and their
I'm like that
birthdays,
now.
they're like that. But what adverts can you remember as a child? Well, we better quickly, briefly move on because this podcast has gone on forever and a day, isn't it? But it's going to be like midnight in a minute. But what?
No, all the standard adverts. The ones with the good songs and the jingles and catchy stuff.
Yeah, Kiora advert and stuff like that.
Fiore, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I ask is there's a new Dove advert. Now, I don't know if you have seen it. I read it in the paper yesterday. And it's really, really left people wanting to wash their hands of it. Get what I've done there? Right. Now, it shows a black woman turning herself white. Now, apparently, this is sparked consumer backlash. Now, I haven't seen the advert, but all it says is a black woman turning herself white by using Dove. Now, apparently, Dove has admitted that they had missed the mark. Now, I haven't seen the advert, but come on, guys,
That's just a bit
what the
stupid.
hell do you expect?
Well, even if
Yeah.
there's nothing specifically wrong, it's always going to create a backlash, isn't it? Now,
Well-
people do get offended by things,
Well, I
whether
mean,
right or wrong.
What I want to know is, what mark were they expecting to hit in the first place? God damn it. They get a black lady washing herself white. It's going to cause shitloads of hassle,
But
isn't it?
maybe that's what they want.
Well, yeah,
I mean, look, we're talking about it.
the PR is
Very,
kicked up.
very,
Is,
very
Look
true.
at the marketing.
Very-
Everybody,
I
it's
didn't
becoming
even think
viral.
about- I didn't even think about that.
People are talking about. I mean, it's not the best thing,
subconscious, isn't it? Yeah.
but people are talking about it.
We're going to put some music on here now, and then after that, we're going to talk briefly about something simply shamazing, and then I think it's about time we went to bed. Because, not together.
I think before the lawyers shut us down
Yeah, let's play some music.
again.
The suns of rage beat through my heart. The solar storms glisten in the dark, tearing me apart. The sound is of the street. My heart plays along to the same old beat. Sonic bleed, waiting for the sun to come, 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 waiting for you, waiting for you. This is how you make me feel when I'm with you. The sounds of rage beat through my heart. The solar storm glisten in the dark, tearing me apart. The sound is of the street. My heart plays along to the same old beat. Sonic fleet, waiting for the sun to come, 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 waiting for you, waiting for you. This is how you make me feel when I'm with you. 1, 2, 3, go.
So there indeed we have it. That was the Decrees with Songs of Rage, and that one comes out on the 27th of October. And you can catch them on SoundCloud. They're also on YouTube and Facebook, and all the links to the two artists will be on this week's show notes. Check it out. Simply shamazing. Now, before I ask Liam what's been bothering him this week, I did notice one last bit of news that I wanted to share with you. Starting on January the 1st, 2018, it will no longer be a major crime in California to knowingly expose a sexual partner to HIV.
That's quite
Now,
specific.
for Christ's sake, come on, what the hell is all that about? Basically, they're saying if you have HIV currently and you have sex with somebody knowing that you've got it, then you can be done for it. But they're saying that as from the 1st of January 2018, it will no longer be a crime. What the hell is going on here?
I don't know. Don't know what you can say to that.
Jerry Brown signed legislation, it says here, on Friday that lowers the offence from, is it felony to misdemeanor. And Trump says North Korea's politics are screwed up. I think he needs to start looking at his own country, don't you? Anyway, I think it's time to wrap this one up, don't you? Now we've been going for quite a while. We've
covered everything.
We've talked
It's been
about
quite a serious
everything.
episode, hasn't it?
AIDS apocalypse.
Well, the thing is, I have noticed that our podcasts have been getting a lot more serious recently. We have a laugh and joke, but I just think it depends on people that we have in the studio. Perhaps, I don't know.
We'll have a TV question time kind of thing going on too, won't we?
A Jaff Dimbleby and Liam. Who could you be? You could be Paxman.
A debate like Jeremy.
Liam Paxman.
I thought you were going to say Boris Johnson.
Well, thank you for coming in and having a chat with us again, Sam. Is there anything coming up that you want to tell us about before you leave us, or where we can find you for your Facebook Live and stuff like that?
You can find me at www.facebook.com/Samantha Delahaye. Not Sam Delahaye, because you'll get a lady with breastfeeding, which is definitely not me.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Liam's laughing.
He likes a bit of bitty, does Liam?
Or you can find me at samdelahaye.com for weddings.
/breast pump.
Or samdelahaye.co.uk for the singer-songwriter side of me. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Sam. I hope you've enjoyed yourself this time.
Yeah, it's been good fun,
been a bit of a different one, this one, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's been a
lot
bit more serious.
But I think it's important to talk about these things, actually.
I wanted to go down. I wanted to be a bit of a serious one for the mental health aspect this week.
Yeah.
Because like I say, it is Mental Health Awareness Day today.
Worldwide.
Worldwide. So not we're in the World Wide Web now, aren't we? So it makes it
that old thing.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for taking the time out of your busy lives to listen to episode 32. You can get in contact with me, Jaff10 at hotmail.com. I'm also on Twitter at Mr. Jaff10, Facebook, The Mark Jeffrey Podcast Show, and check out all the links to tonight's music and guests by finding my webpage, www.jaff10.simplesite.com. Please check out and subscribe to The Mark Jeffrey Podcast Show on iTunes. And while you're there, leave a cheeky little comment and a couple of 5-star reviews would be nice there. I really, really hope that you can join me on episode 33 next week. As of yet, we have no guests in the studio unless I can randomly find somebody on the street. Liam, anybody you can think of?
Yeah, we'll find someone.
Yeah, perhaps it's you. Come on in and give it a go. You may just like it. And until next time, look after yourselves and those around you. Treat others as you wish to be treated yourself. And remember, your life may not be as crazy as you once thought it was.